So welcome back. Hope you all enjoyed your coffee, and we're going to move straight on to our first plenary session, which is entitled The Way Ahead, the Financial Crisis, Reflections and Solutions. Obviously, we are in very difficult times as an industry. We're all looking for short and long-term solutions which encompass a whole range of issues, investment, labour relations, forecasting future demand, and so on. And we have a distinguished panel to take us through those issues. Our first speaker will be Greg Russell, who's very well known to us all. He's been Chief Executive Officer of Air Services Australia since 2005. He's also the Chairman of CANZO's Asia Pacific CEO Committee, overseeing our work programme for the last year. And he'll be talking to us about the labour relations negotiations within Air Services, following up on his fascinating presentation last year. Jeff Poole, also extremely well known to us. He's responsible within IATA for airport charges, ATC charges, fuel and taxation issues. Jeff, what did you do wrong in a previous life? That's all I can say. He is an enthusiastic supporter of the development of CANZO and Global ATM, and is equally enthusiastic in giving us the airline view in plain language. Dr. Fariba Alamdari is a former head of the Department of Air Transport at Cranfield University. She was appointed Vice President Business Strategy and Marketing for Boeing Commercial Airplanes in June 2006. She and her team define future customer requirements, product development strategies, forecast demand, and evaluate market risks and opportunities. She has said, and I quote, "Understanding and contributing to the progress of commercial aviation is an intellectually vibrant and inspiring endeavour," which expresses more elegantly than I ever could the reward of working in this industry. She will be giving the Boeing view of where our industry is heading in the coming years. And finally, Knut Skar. Knut has been in aviation for more than 30 years, starting his career in the Air Defence Operations Centre in Bodo, I think I've pronounced that correctly, which is very much north of the Polar Circle. So he's fortunately come in from the cold in recent years, and currently is chairman of CANZO's European CEO Committee, the EC3. And he will be reflecting on the right way ahead, seen through European eyes. So a very distinguished panel. Thank you very much. Without further ado, I will hand over to Mr. Greg Russell. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, and good morning, everybody. Nice to see the sun out here in San Diego. This session is focusing on the financial crisis, which has highlighted the importance of reform to the way we provide air traffic management and to how we deliver the efficiencies and ultimately the cost savings that our airline customers so urgently need at the present time. That wasn't me. Reform in this business is easy to talk about, but a little more difficult to deliver. So my contribution to this discussion this morning is to focus on a specific reform process that we experienced in Air Services in the last 18 months or so, with the hope that the pain that we and our airline partners have endured, together with the lessons that we've learnt, might be of some value to others who are facing a similar situation. During the course of the past 18 months, we've been engaged in a highly acrimonious labour negotiation with our air traffic controllers and their union. Now, why this example is important in the context of this particular forum is that the outcomes were critical to improving productivity and efficiency in our organisation. So let me take you through what occurred under these three headings. First, the issue of context. Our management team recognised that this was always going to be a significant issue when it commenced. It began around the time when a new Labor government had been elected in Australia in November 2007, and after 11 years of Conservative government, the union movement had expectations of a better deal, while the new Labor government, their traditional supporters, had ideas about wage restraint. Like many others, our organisation has an ATC union with almost complete coverage of our ATC workforce. Because they are a single union, single organisation union, there is little opportunity for their members to understand a broad range of business conditions in other parts of the economy. In these circumstances, one can find that a union executive includes people with fairly radical notions of what the outcome of negotiation should be, which in turn feeds into claims made that are actually made and the approach they take to negotiation. Each year, we survey our staff to ascertain their views on a range of issues. And over the past couple of years, we've seen a steady growth in engagement of our employees as our change program takes root and we get better at communicating it. That is, with the exception of our air traffic group, shown here in red, which has dragged down our overall result. Additionally, we've been undertaking a significant reform program focused on our air traffic control group, and this program is changing the way in which we deliver air services, tightening up on the overuse of sick leave, centralising all of our rostering, and strengthening our frontline management, and taking action on behaviours that are simply not acceptable. We still deliver air traffic services the same way as we did 40 years ago, through 32 separate airspace sector groups, which involve 144 different endorsements. When ATCs go sick, especially at short notice, it's very difficult to find a replacement in the right group with the right endorsement, let alone when they are conducting a campaign of non-cooperation. As I say, this is a high priority reform. We're implementing a program to align our airspace structures into 3 distinct service lines, which may not be quite evident from the slide, but one that covers all of the airspace across Australia and allows us to bring about generic endorsements of our air traffic controllers in that group. One for regional services, a lot of the outback areas of Australia with fairly low-level traffic, and our East Coast services where the majority of our high-capacity, high-frequency jet aircraft operate. Our aim is to reduce those 32 sectors to 3 and the number of endorsements from 144 down to 7. So there was every indication before we commenced the negotiations that they were likely to become a lightning rod for a lot of issues within our ATC group.